just mention that we've been collaborating for about 10 years. And our work is about a sense of place and the idea of presence and absence. So we're going to introduce our individual work and then proceed to talk about our collaborations. This is, I'm just going to introduce Serge's work. He is a mixed media artist, works with drawing, fiber, and installation, and lately with video. And his work is about juxtaposition of the material and the immaterial. And my work combines painting, printmaking, and drawing, and an installation. And the work is about a sense of place and belonging. We started our collaboration very intuitively with some just playful drawings where we started to combine my more organic vocabulary and Serge's more geometric vocabulary. From then on, we really started to play with light. So we combined our drawings with the shadows and drawing, where we tried to create an illusion of depth through the use of shadows. And so here is a pretty large piece, about 7 feet wide, where we also played with the volume of the actual piece and the layering and the light and the shadows, where you don't necessarily know where is the light, where is the mark, where is the shadow. So it really, we really tried to draw the viewer in that way. We spent some time in Finland in the village of Fiskars, where the scissors with orange handles come from. And they have, because this was an original site of the factory, they had these slag bricks. So we used it in our outdoor pieces that we installed there. So in this first outdoor piece we captured the landscape and combined it with the drawing. And so the piece changed according to the weather. And it also changed according to the position of the viewer and the time of day. And this one has more of that slag brick texture. And you can also see that there is some of the shadows from the bushes behind made the marks as well. So then they had these really great path lights. So we used the light to make these drawings. And so on the top right, you see that is during the day, and then it changes at night. You kind of have two different states, but these drawings were actually not visible unless you really had to look. This piece is called Luminescence, where we continued working with light and shadow. These are mylar pieces with a drawing and acetate behind. So what you see is actually not the drawing on the mylar, but it's a projection of a piece behind it. And so, so it also changes according to the viewer's position, and it also changes according to the air movement. This installation, Sliding Windows, was made in the Netherlands, where we played with the architectural elements of the site and brought elements of the landscape from the outside. Where Serge's part was the geometric tape, the geometric kind of structure of the piece, and my work kind of wove in and out. We had a great time with the columns and the fire extinguisher. This piece is one of the most recent pieces we've done. We we worked at an art center that was a converted synagogue. It was restored in Slovakia. It was restored after being partially destroyed and abandoned in World War II. So we thought of a metaphor of a body of water flowing through the door where the Torah, which is the sacred text, had been held. And we made the water out of fabric. So you can see a close-up, and you can also see the empty frames throughout the space. And that was supposed to speak to the history of the space and also the passage of time. On the back of the installation, we had 2 panels that consisted of rubbings of the interior and also very, very methodical mark making to mark the passage of time. And also in the back room, we had a video projection of a video that it's a very slow transformation of shots of the windows in the synagogue that have been digitally manipulated in color and light. And there was sound to it, which does not seem to be working at the moment. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the video, but basically in that installation, we really wanted to have this idea of a present and an absence and the passage of time. That's it. We welcome questions. You can ask us now, or you can send it to us on our website, or we both have an Instagram feed.
I have a question.
Yes.
Of course, I love this, and especially the material and the way that you are trying to imitate water. And I'm curious how you were able to keep the fabric relatively, those contours, stationary. What was there sewing involved?
A lot of sewing involved. So it was bunched and sewn, and then bunched and sewn, and bunched and sewn. Wow. So what you see is many bolts of cotton fabric and many yards of thread.
Wow. And you did that all on site?
Yeah, we did it on site. What was really kind of interesting and bizarre is that the sewing work was done up on the gallery, which is where the women traditionally sit and pray. So that was a little bit strange in a way.
Well, it's fabulous, especially the context in which you've placed this. I think it's brilliant.
Thanks.
So I really appreciate it.
Hi, Marcia. My name is Anisha Perone, and I'm in Niwot, Colorado. And I'm wondering whether do you go to the site first and then get inspirations from the site, or do you have something in mind first and then you find a site that kind of fits? How do you go about that process?
It really depends. When we, in both instances, in all the previous instances, we would go to the site and then we would look at the site and then we would decide. In the last piece, because it required some research, we really did a lot of our research before we went to the site. But then once we were in the site, we had to scrap everything that we had thought of doing. And so we had to really experience the site. That site was really special because it was very loaded. it was also a very beautiful space. And in a way, there was a lot of beauty in the absence of anything. So we kept saying, oh, you know, maybe we shouldn't do anything. I mean, we're going to ruin the space. So we had to do it in a way that kept the integrity of the place, but also to, you know, to make an impact. So it kind of both ways.
And for that synagogue, like, did you said it was an abandoned synagogue? Do you have to get permission to work in places?
So this is now a gallery. It's a contemporary art space. And we went there for a month specifically we were invited to make this installation. And we stayed, we actually stayed with the directors, Chaba and Suzanne Schiss, and they were very generous in offering us a place to stay. So we spent 3 weeks there. And so the whole process, the installation process, took about 3 weeks. So the first week we just spent time in the place and just absorbed the space.
Hi.
Hi, Karen.
Hi. And for the rest of you, I'm Karen, living outside of New Haven, Connecticut. And I'm interested in that video that you showed at the end. It also looks sort of like water. And I'm wondering if the imagery, which was so mesmerizing, is from the stained glass of that synagogue.
That was right. So these were the windows of the synagogue. They were, I'm not sure if the stained glass was original or not, but you know, it was probably not original. And I don't know what consideration went into the restoration of that, of those windows, but yeah, so they're the windows as they are restored. And then, you know, the color was manipulated a little bit, and so things were altered slightly. Bye, thank you.
Thank you.